Chapter 46 Indeed, Heaven Defying. Although Xue Fanxin had already awakened her spirit, she was at the lowest level of the cultivators. If not for the fist and foot techniques she had practiced in her previous life and her element of surprise, she would not have been able to kick away the man in black who wanted to kill Domination. But after that, with her mediocre skills, she would definitely be tortured. Xue Fanxin had only exchanged 2 moves with the black-clothed person before getting kicked away. She fell onto the ground, filled with shards of porcelain. Her body was pierced in many places by the sharp tiles, and blood flowed unceasingly. However, she did not have time to care about her injuries. At this moment, another black-clothed person swung his broadsword at Domination. Grandpa Xue Fan was anxious. She picked up the porcelain fragments on the ground and circulated the reverse spirit art, sending them flying. The porcelain fragments that were hurled out with the reverse spirit art were extremely powerful. They shot through the man in black, who wanted to kill Domination, like a hot knife through butter, then nailed him to the wall. The porcelain shards were so fast that no one had a chance to react. Before the black-clothed person died, he turned around and looked at Xue Fanxin, who was holding the porcelain pieces. He collapsed in disbelief, not believing that he had died at the hands of a little girl. After he fell, the 2 black-clothed people beside him looked at his corpse in extreme shock. They had already forgotten their mission. They raised their stiff heads and looked at Xue Fanxin sitting on the ground in shock. Not only were the black-clothed people shocked, but even Xue Fanxin was no exception. She had never expected that the porcelain fragment she had casually shot out would have such power. Of course, most of this was because of the reverse spirit art. She had not expected the reverse spirit art to be so powerful. This was only the first tier. Wouldn't the second and third tiers be even more powerful? Xue Fanxin was a person who had seen the world and had experienced life and death once. At this moment, she naturally would not be foolish. While the black-clothed people were still in a stupor, she took the initiative to pick up a few more porcelain fragments. She circulated the reverse spirit art and threw them out at the same time. The fragments looked tiny and weak, but they were enveloped by a powerful and domineering force. They cut through the air and easily penetrated the black-clothed men's bodies, nailing them to the wall. Before the black-clothed person by the bedside could react, he had already been pierced through the chest by the porcelain shards. He collapsed with endless disbelief, feeling indignant. They had actually died at the hands of a useless idiot. How could they be at peace? Xue Fanxin did not care if the men in black were willing to give up. She continued to pick up the porcelain fragments and killed all the men in the room. Finally, only the masked man who was fighting Yitian was left. The masked man was slightly inferior to Yitian. After a round of fighting, he was already on the back foot. If he continued fighting, the one who would lose would definitely be him. In such a battle, losing meant death. I never thought that the idiot, useless, young miss from the Duke's estate would be an expert who hid her strength. Although I didn't succeed in killing Domination tonight, I still obtained a good harvest, the masked man suddenly said. Then, he scattered a handful of poison and quickly jumped out of the window to escape. Xue Fanxin used her hairpin as a weapon and hurled it out. Although she did not see her hidden weapon hit the masked man, she vaguely heard a painful grunt. It must have been the sound made by the masked man being pierced. The reverse spirit art was indeed heaven-defying. But why did she feel so tired? After the masked man escaped, Xue Fanxin collapsed from exhaustion. Ziner Yitian caught her in time.